All right, guys, Bitcoin pulling back, and we also have California, Los Angeles completely burning. I think they're kind of all related, even though a lot of people aren't kind of equating the two. So right now you have Los Angeles, Pacific Palisades, all sorts of parts of California on fire because the Forestry Service, California, the water supply was completely mismanaged. And now essentially you have California, these parts of California collapsing, everywhere where the celebrities live, all these multi-million-dollar houses burning down. It really is a sight to see. You have the mayor of Los Angeles. She was in Africa, of all places, when all this started to happen. She was at the inauguration for the president of Africa. That's where your mayor of California was. Some reporters asking her a few questions, and of course she completely ignores it.
Do you owe citizens an apology for being absent while their homes were burning? Do you regret cutting the fire department budget by millions of dollars, Madam Mayor? Have you nothing to say today? Have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today?
So these are the kind of scumbags the people of California put into power. Doesn't matter the qualifications, doesn't matter the background. All that matters is, are you a lesbian? Do you like to lick pussy? Do you like to take it up the ass? Do you like another guy to fuck you in the ass? That's what we're looking for. We're looking for a woman who likes to lick pussy. We're looking for a guy who likes to suck dick, get it up in the ass. That's kind of what they're looking for right now in California. Nothing else matters. You gotta be gay. You gotta be a female. You gotta be a lesbian. You gotta be a member of the LGBTQ or whatever the hell they call it. Here's your fire chief of Los Angeles. Of course, lesbian, female. You know, this is who's running the show in Los Angeles. You can find the articles. Her whole goal is to hire as many gay females on the department as possible. Meanwhile, that means people really don't want to join the fire department. So they're down hundreds and hundreds of firefighters, as well as the police department's down, I believe, like 900 officers. They just can't get people to work there. Not to mention the mayor cut the fire department budget by a couple $1 million, so they really don't have the resources. All the old fire equipment by this lesbian right here in the mayor sent over to Ukraine, so now they're running out of equipment. Trump warned about all this years ago on Joe Rogan just a few months ago, saying, look, you got to make sure you have water in California. You're surrounded by water. It's not hard. You just divert the water. You have it come in. So you basically, if there's a fire, you can put out the fire. You're not going to make problems. They didn't listen to them. So now they're running out of water. And the excuse for all this was because if they diverted the water, it might hurt a certain species of fish called a smelt, which is basically like a little minnow. And because they didn't want to do that, they decided not to divert the water. So now there's no more water in California. California is a third world country. And that's what I've been talking about on this channel for a long time. Everything run by liberal Democrats, whether it's Baltimore City near where I live. So I live in the county, which is pretty bad too, but at least we have some Republicans running the show. Baltimore City is just all liberals, so it's a complete third world shithole. DC, run by all liberals, complete shithole. Anywhere around me you have run by liberals, it's a complete shithole. And the same with the rest of the country. California, LAPD, that's run by all liberals, all gay, black, whatever liberals. Detroit, Chicago, all these places, and they're all deteriorating. So now you have all of LA burning to the ground. And here, this woman right here makes $750,000 a year. She's in charge of the water management. They pay her almost $1 million a year, and it looks like basically she's straight out of Mexico. She can't even talk.
Out of water in the first tank at about 4:45 p.m. yesterday. We ran out of water in the second tank about 8:30 p.m. and the third tank about 3 a.m. this morning. Those tanks help with the pressure on the fire hydrants and the...
Yeah, she's talking about how they're basically all running out of water. This is almost $1 million a year job right here. Can't even speak proper English. Like I said, it's all the people that are putting in charge of everything now in California is just all third worlders. So California, most of it has now turned third world. Trump warned about all this many years ago, and he actually warned about it in a press conference with Gavin Newsom about 4 years ago, and he told Gavin Newsom, you better get your shit together with these fires or your whole state's going to burn down. So here's here's now Gavin Newsom's up very mad.
I didn't ask this question, but the president-elect chose to attack you, blame you for this.
One can't even respond to it. I mean, people are literally fleeing. People have lost their lives. Kids lost their schools. Families completely torn asunder. Churches burned down. This guy wanted to politicize it.
Yeah, well, so basically when the Democrats say you're politicizing it, that means you're basically just calling them out. Gavin Newsom is the reason all of this is happening, and he can't take the criticism. So anyway, so that's what's going on in California. How does that relate to Bitcoin? It does hurt the sentiment. I mean, when you have one of the biggest states in America burning down, that's not necessarily good for the markets. I'll be honest with you guys, that's not good. It does hurt the sentiment, especially when you're in a risk asset like Bitcoin. The stock market's hanging on somewhat decently, but yeah, I mean, like, I don't think that's why we're dumping right now. I think there's some other news we're going to talk about as well, but I'm telling you, this doesn't help when you see the biggest state of America burning down. Now, we also have that the government is now cleared to sell $6.5 billion in Bitcoin. Will it crash the price? Rand Neuner talked about this a little bit today. I mean, it could. I mean, if the U.S. government starts selling that much Bitcoin, yeah, it could have a short-term price dump. That's, definitely a possibility. But I personally don't think the U.S. government's going to be selling any of this Bitcoin for a while. And I think with Trump coming in next week, they're probably not going to end up selling it. Rand Neuner kind of talks about that as well today. So I mean, but even if worst case scenario, the government comes in and they just sell the Bitcoin that they have, it's a short term thing, nothing to worry about. Yeah, I'm trying to look through the news, okay, is this pullback concerning? That's like what everybody wants to know. Like, is there a problem? I'm not seeing anything. I mean, the California thing is bad because that's going to hurt sentiment. The government possibly selling Bitcoin. We've known about this for, I believe, a few months. If you see one of the U.S. government wallets get activated and they start selling it, there's going to be a lot of panic selling in Bitcoin. And we could easily go down to like $80,000 Bitcoin, something like that. I don't think that's going to happen, but if it does, it will be a short-term thing and a great buying opportunity. Let's hear what old Rand has to say. Also, I want to talk about the sentiment as well. I've been talking about this for the last few months. The one thing I really didn't like about this big pump we had since Trump got elected was nobody really got all that bearish. Like, you had a few people coming out and saying, okay, well, now we're going into a bear market, it's all over. But for the most part, people are just saying we're going to buy the dip. And I've always said, to get a true shakeout in these markets, you need a lot of people saying we're going into a bear market. You need a lot of people saying the market's going to crash and go to zero. And we're starting to see that now a little bit more. The fear has certainly spread. So let's listen to Rand Neuner for a little bit.
Government auction. So here, the approval happened in January, but they only sold them in June, right? I think that there was another example over here, 2013, 2014. Was there another example, Andre? You were supposed to give me another example. Unfortunately, not today. Okay, so what you can see is that they don't necessarily sell immediately after that. It can take them up to 6 months to actually sell this. So from that point of view, we actually could be quite safe. We actually could be pretty safe. In other words, number one, they may sell it slowly, responsibly, and OTC, like they did with the Kim Draper Bitcoin. They may sell them on the open market, like they did with the previous batch of Bitcoin. So the previous batch of Bitcoin, if I remember correctly, I think here it is. Okay, I don't have the chart. Here it is. They sold those. The previous batch of Bitcoin on the open market. So they can sell them OTC. They can sell them on the open market. The question is how much pressure they've actually got to do it in. Now, here is why I am not worried. Right? Here is why I'm not worried, and also why I think that at some point we're going to get a generational buying opportunity. So let me start off with the fact of why I'm not worried. The first reason why I'm not worried is because this has actually been in the market for at least 10 days already. I mean, the smart money has been watching the court orders, and it's been in the market for at least 10
Yeah, I mean, I guess what he's trying to say is this is not like a black swan event. Like, people have known that the U.S. government has had Bitcoin to sell for a while. They've had the court order now for a couple of weeks. It really didn't affect the price. But that's how Bitcoin always is. That's how these markets always are. When you have a big whale who starts transferring money to an exchange or whatever, everybody gets scared and they all dump. Like, the crypto markets are so freaking volatile. There's so many, like, clinically depressed, anxiety-ridden people in these markets. They just basically sell whenever you see the first little inkling of trouble, they all sell, which is why I've been saying once we go into a real bear market and all these funds and Michael Saylor and ETF start selling, this thing's gone to zero. Bitcoin's like gone to zero. I mean, not zero, but like 15, 20 grand. I don't think we're there. We're definitely not there yet. Right now, what I just see is kind of like what Rand said. Okay, worst case scenario, the government sells. We get a big old dump down to like 80,000. It's bad. Everybody's going to be coming out saying we're going into a bear market. Everybody. I'm going to say 90% of the YouTubers are going to say it's all over, crying. And that's going to be the generational buying opportunity that Rand Nooner is talking about. I will definitely be buying more at that point. I actually am about to list a condo of mine for sale, and I'm actually hoping it kind of times out to where it sells. I get the money, and we're at another bottom on Bitcoin, and I can buy more because we're definitely going to pump after that. But at the timing probably won't work out the way, just because how long it takes to close and everything like that. But I do have money on the side, and I'll definitely be buying. As bearish as I've been on Bitcoin and crypto, we're not near the end, folks. We're not near the end. This is typical shit. Just typical throw your baby out with the bathwater because there's some bad news coming out. So it could get worse. What we want to see is the sentiment get worse. And that's kind of what Rand Nooner's talking about. It's not so much about the price. It's not so much like, is the price down to 70,000? Is it down to 80? Oh my God, we're down to 90. Like, is that where we should be buying? Ignore the price. Go on Twitter, go on Reddit, go on Telegram, and see how people are behaving. Are people who were bullish a week ago now telling you that we're going into a bear market? Or now saying, I'm concerned, or not telling you like, oh no, missed the bull market, Solana had its top, Bitcoin had its top at 100,000, now we're going back down to 20. Are you starting to see a lot more of that? And that's what I did last night, around midnight. I was on Reddit, on YouTube, and you're starting to see a lot more of that. Listening to Rand Nooner this morning, he was pretty much talking about that as well.
What's it called? Our desire to speculate on the altcoins comes from the price of Bitcoin. If Bitcoin goes up, we feel confident, and then we spend money on altcoins. And if Bitcoin goes down, well, then you get a situation that looks like this, where Bitcoin goes down 1 or 2%, and then our favorite altcoins, holy shit, Sonic's down at 62 cents, Beam is down at 22 cents. The altcoins have had a massive correction, massive correction. Okay. So we have kind of been shielded. We've been completely shielded, because whilst the rest of the market has gone down, we've had one unnatural buyer in the market holding the market up. And I've always said that for me, if my MicroStrategy slows, then that could bring the crypto fear and greed down. If it doesn't, then we may remain insulated. So to summarize, what I'm looking for here is I'm looking for the fear and greed to correct. I don't think that I'm comfortable that a 69% and the fact that we're still sitting in green means the end of the correction. However, I think very quickly, if we take one more leg down, and if we get to around the $80,000-$85,000 level, and the fear and greed actually does correct, then I actually think that we've probably seen the bottom and we can carry on going up. Now, as it relates to the cycle top, could this be the cycle top? I mean, there is a probability, it can happen, but listen, I've been here for 3 cycles, and I can tell you that, they say if it walks like a duck, and it talks like a duck, and it quacks like a duck, or they say that if she looks like a porn star and she talks like a porn star, then, yes. So, I've been here for 3 cycles, and I can tell you that this is the furthest thing that I've seen from a cycle top. And it's not only me. In fact, you can remember that when Ben Cowan was on the show last year, he literally predicted this exactly.
For at least a few more weeks, My guess is there's going to be some type of a pullback in January or February. But the reason I say January is because you're going to get the inauguration, and then everyone's going to want to ask themselves, all right, do we actually get a strategic Bitcoin reserve, right? Is it all?
Anyway, so there's that, guys. I mean, in a nutshell, that's what everybody wants to know. Is the bull market over? No, the bull market's not over. And trust me, guys, when it's over, I'm going to let you know it's over. I'm going to be screaming it's over. I'm going to be bragging about how much money I made and that I'm buying my rental properties. And it's not over. This is your typical, like I said, throw your baby out with the bathwater. Oh, my God. We had to dump anyway. I mean, according to most analysts, we were probably due for a dump. I personally didn't think we were going to get much of a dump until we made another top in Bitcoin of like 115, 120. Okay, we got the dump right now. And really, back down to 94,000 is just basically back to where we were last week. So really, the price dump we've had right now in Bitcoin isn't even all that concerning. But for whatever reason now, with this whole government might be selling their Bitcoin situation, going into January, there's not too many other things going on. People are just kind of afraid like we might get a more sustainable dump, which we might. And if we do, it's a great buying opportunity. You are seeing a sentiment change where people are all kind of like, a lot of people who are bullish are now bearish. I personally agree with Rand Nooner on this one. I don't agree with Rand Nooner all the time. I agree that that's a good thing. I want to see people saying it's over. I love it. That makes me happy. I'll never forget last bear market when my friends were all calling me idiots, calling me up saying it was over. I sold everything, blah, blah, blah. And we had like another whole leg up to go. And that's just the way it goes with these emotional people in the markets. But as of right now, everything looks fine. Yeah, it kind of sucks. Maybe January will be kind of boring. Or maybe next week we'll be right back up to over $100,000 again. Like, you can't predict it. Like, nobody can predict the timing. If you could predict the timing, you wouldn't even be here. You'd be a billionaire. All you can kind of do is predict what you think is going to happen based off previous cycles. Trying to get the exact day is virtually impossible. If you look at these markets over the last month, you could basically... Like, there were times over the last month where we were like at $100,000 Bitcoin. I'm not even kidding. We were 100,000. I got busy with some stuff. Didn't make a video. Didn't even check the markets for 2 or 3 days. Okay, I come back in 3 days. Oh, what's Bitcoin up to? I see it's like still at $100,000. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess not much has happened. Then I start to see other YouTubers and charts that we had dumped all the way back down to $92,000. In that 3-day period, we dumped down to 92, and then we went right back up to 100. And it all happened while I wasn't even paying attention. Or it happened while I was asleep. And that's why when you look at these things day to day, it'll make you absolutely crazy. You could you could just be in a coma for a couple days and wake up and it's like nothing happened. What's going on right now? If you punch yourself in the face, go to the hospital, you wake up in 2 weeks, we could be at $105,000 Bitcoin, but we could have dropped down to 85 in the meantime. That's why you can't take this short-term volatility seriously. It's not concerning, but the problem is all the new people in the market, the people who aren't used to it, they get so scared, and then they all pull out, and then all the big money comes back in and buys. So as of right now, guys, I don't see anything concerning. I think this is normal shit. Yeah, I thought we'd probably be pumping more this week, especially with the inauguration next week. But maybe when we come back to the inauguration, we will be pumping again, and we'll be right back to $110,000 Bitcoin. So as far as the traditional markets, not too much going on in the stock market, but the big news is the fires in California. Like I said, a lot of people are not equating these fires to Bitcoin and the stock market. I mean, I'm an American. I live in America. I've been to California many times. One of my favorite drives is that Rodeo Drive, Pacific Coast Highway. I haven't been there in like 8 years. And I have no interest in going back with Gavin Newsom there. Same with New York City. I'm only a 2-hour train ride from New York City. Wife and I used to go all the time. When I was a kid, I was in New York City for year 2000, 2002. I was in the World Trade Center 3 months before it got bombed. It still scares the shit out of me. Because I drove with my friends and we did like a tour of New York City. New York City was beautiful under Giuliani. No crimes, subways were clean. Same with California when I was there under Arnold Schwarzenegger. Clean, everything was fine, no problems. Now California is a dump. And now with everything burning down, I have no reason to go back. Point being, I've been to all these areas in California that are burning down. They're beautiful areas. I mean, I always said if I became like a multi-millionaire, I would totally move to California. I'd probably move to like one of the Republican areas like San Diego or something, but California is fucking awesome. It really is. The problem with California is the government. So now you have California burning down. It's one of the biggest economies, biggest states in the U.S., and it's not good for the markets, guys. Now, these markets are 0%, or excuse me, these fires are 0% contained, which means the firefighters are essentially just showing up. Their water isn't working, and they can't even make a dent. So I don't know where this is even going to end. Like, is California still going to be burning this time next week? I mean, we're talking about trillions and trillions of dollars of damage. Adam Carolla was talking about this. A lot of people who lost their houses there aren't going to rebuild. They're going to leave. That means California is going to lose all that money in taxes. California could actually turn into like Detroit. It could turn into like a wasteland, which it looks like it already is. So the more California burns and the worse it gets, now you're starting to see the story on the financial website right here on CNBC. It could cause the stock market crash. It could cause Bitcoin to crash even further. It's all connected, guys. I always said, like, the one thing you can't predict in these crypto markets is these natural disasters, like COVID. We couldn't predict COVID. Well, now we got California burning to the ground. Now, regardless, it's only going to be short term. But I'm just saying, guys, like 0% contained fires. They've been burning for 3 days. They're not even coming close to the stopping. These things could be burning for another couple months. I mean, California could just burn. That's not good for Bitcoin. It's not good. It's not good for Bitcoin. It's not good for the stock market. This is crazy fucking shit. And like I said, all because of liberal Democrats, they destroyed California and destroyed the infrastructure and gave all the money that was supposed to go to water management and forestry, they gave it all to illegal immigrants and hiring DEI, lesbian, pussy-munching fire chiefs. That shit's not going to work, guys. It's not going to work. You can't run a country like that. Or you can't run a state like that, and you can't run a country. Again, this is the mayor of L.A. I mean, she looks like somebody who should be working in the DMV office. They just give these jobs to anybody as long as you are gay, lesbian, black. Black's a big one. If you're black, they love you. And the fire chief, her main goal. She said in an interview 2 years ago, I'm not going to play. I could go on all day with this, but I'm not going to do it. Her main goal was to hire as many lesbian females as possible. That's what she said. She said, too many white males. Hire all black lesbian females. That's what she's shooting for. You cannot run a fire department like that. You can run a sub shop like that, maybe. You can run, I don't know, the dollar store. Maybe you can run it like that, but you can't run an essential city service like the fire department like that. So now we have California collapsing. But guys, I'm not going to go too long. I could ramble all day about this. I really could. It's a big problem. We got Trump coming in next week, thank God. I think now with California, the Democrat liberals, now that all their multi-million-dollar mansions are burned down, I think they're probably fed up, and I think you're going to see California, the pendulum swing back the other way, back more to being a little bit more moderate, a little bit more Republican, because Hollywood is burned down, and I can't see them being too happy with Gavin Newsom and the lesbian, pussy-munching fire chief with what's happened. So I think you're going to see a change. So maybe in the end of the day, this will all be a good thing for California and humanity. But as of right now, it could be bad for the markets. And this is a crypto channel, so we want to relate everything back to the markets. Other than that, guys, there's not too much going on. As far as Bitcoin, why is Bitcoin dumping? Well, we got the fires. Okay, maybe that's a problem. Maybe it's not. I don't know, but I think it does hurt sentiment. We got the U.S. government possibly selling trillions of dollars worth of Bitcoin. Okay, worst case scenario, they sell it all. We get a dump down to $80,000 Bitcoin, then we come right back up. In fact, I can tell you guys right now, if you're following the wallet that the U.S. government has and they start selling Bitcoin, I would finance my liver to be buying more Bitcoin, because every time there's a flash crash like that because a whale sells, we bounce right back up. So could be a great buying opportunity, like Rand Nooner said. The question is it even going to happen? And if you're basically selling all your Bitcoin right now and your alts in anticipation that the government's going to sell everything, well, the government's slow. And then you have Trump coming in next week. He's not selling that Bitcoin. Once Trump gets in, the Bitcoin's not getting sold. That's going into the Bitcoin reserve. So very dangerous time to be selling all your coins and running home to mommy that you know, the markets are over. I can tell you that right now. And there will be a time to do that. Trust me, it's probably going to be spring, could be summer. I don't know when it's going to be. I don't like to put exact timelines on when things are going to happen because I don't really know. If I knew, I've always said it, if I had that almanac, remember you guys remember Back to the Future 2? If I had that almanac that Michael J. Fox had where he told him exactly when everything was going to happen, I can tell you right now, I wouldn't be sitting in my basement. I wouldn't be making YouTube videos. I'd have bought myself an island in the Bahamas, and I would be hanging out with Victoria's Secret models and all that other good stuff. Like, that would be the lifestyle. That's the lifestyle of some. I'd be like Biff if I had that almanac. I don't have that almanac. I'm just guessing like everybody else. I know Bitcoin's going to do well. I know we're in a bull market. Is Bitcoin going to be $100,000 next week, or is it going to be back to $85,000? I have no freaking idea, and I'm one of the few YouTubers who will actually admit it. So, with that said, that's why I don't like to sell all my coins, because I could be right. Hey, I could sell everything right now, right? We go down to $80,000 Bitcoin, I buy right back in. I'm a genius. Could also sell everything right now, and tomorrow we're back up to $105,000. And I've been in that situation before, where I've sold everything and the next day we pump. So I don't play those games anymore. We're in a bull market. Hold strong. Buy the big dips. And just basically hold out for the next phase of the alt season. All right, guys. Like and subscribe. Talk to you later.